Hey, boys and girls, welcome once again to another episode of There Is a Place. Okay, and you know, I think you're gonna like this show like you've been all along. You're obviously there watching it. Can't wait till the next episode, and I can't wait to present it to you. Anyway, as you know, this is how we begin each episode, with a poem, so let's go. There is a place where boys and girls want a revolution. There is a place where the revolution will occur by nonviolent measures with no destruction. At this place, the boys and girls are loving, joyful, and aware, and are working on a plan. The children practice the ideals of freedom, equality, and democracy, and they are doing what they can. The boys and girls want to change the world. The girls and boys will change the world. Hey, boys and girls, let's have a revolution. Let's end the market economy and develop an economic, democratic society, because that is the solution. Okay, boys and girls, let's get started. There is a place. This is episode 8. Okay, and the title of this episode is Education. I'm so excited. We're all the way up to episode 8. And it's been so much fun doing this show with you. All these episodes, and we're going to do a whole lot more. Okay. I'm your host, the storyteller, and let's get started. Okay, first, let's look at, as always, we talk about economic democracy either at the end or the beginning. This time we'll talk about the beginning. Just to quickly say what it is, it's the collective ownership or control by the workers of the factories, mills, mines, railroads, land, and all other apparatuses of producing. Okay, in order to have a real good educational society where we really support education, this is the type of society we need to have. Okay, so far with our education program, they only teach things or only that are profitable, or just teach us certain things, just what we need to know to do a job, not knowledge for knowledge's sake. That'll be different under economic democracy. It'll be knowledge for knowledge's sake. Anyway, economic democracy also means to satisfy human needs. That's knowledge for knowledge's sake, not as under the market economy for selling and profit. Economic democracy means true command and administration of the industries and social services by the workers through a democratic government based on their economic organization and not controlled and managed by a fraction of a percentage of the population as in the market economy. Yeah, here our education system is going to be truly run by us, the workers. Okay, it's not going to be influenced by big business. It's going to be knowledge for knowledge's sake. Okay. And as far as the economic democratic system that we'll have in place, educators, because they know about education, they will be voting, and as far as these issues, okay, this is their job, that is their occupation. So they will vote for their representatives in the Congress, and we will set up a great education system. Think about it, boys and girls. You'll be in the first grade. Not just some special schools will have this. Every school will have, you see kids with lab uniforms, laboratories. In the first grade, you're going to be doing science, real science, boys and girls. Also, you're going to be taught art. Besides the reading, writing, and arithmetic, and among many other things, science is going to be a major breakthrough, what we're going to be taught. All that scientific knowledge that's out there is going to be, it will start to be coming back to the general public. And you know what's going to be the result of that, boys and girls? You're going to have more and more people interested in science, and in the future you're going to have more and more scientists, and you're going to have more and more knowledgeable people. More and more artists, more and more knowledgeable people. A lot of people even be a combination of scientists and artists. Anyway, let's get going. Positive consequences of schooling. Teaches skills. Okay, so far if you look at our school system, the way it is, because this, actually public schools was started for the most part once we have a market economy. Before the market economy, we didn't have public schools. You just had some schools, but that was just for the few people. So the market economy, because in order to work in a market economy, they had to have their workers to know how to read and write, so they set up public schools. Okay, and for reading, writing, arithmetic, some science, work skills, and values and norms. Cultural innovation through research. These are some positive things that have occurred through schooling. Integrates a variety of people. Look at all the different peoples of the world in a public school, in the same classroom, and they're all together. All different religions, all different nationalities, all different races. They're all together in the same room learning. Okay, so it integrates a variety of people. That was never possible before. Child care. Obviously, these are kids going through school, and they have parents or guardians have a babysitter while they're away working. So you can see the public school, that's a positive consequence. These are the functions of the school. There's a graphics, science, babysitter, book learning. Okay, now let's look at the negative consequences, the public school, how it is under a market economy. These are the positives. See, the market economy is the first step to get to the next step, that would be economic democracy, where we get even a way better, greater public school system. Okay, so, but these are negative consequences. Schools stress compliance and punctuality. Okay, in other words, to obey. This is what they're constantly taught. Keep your nose clean. Don't cause any waves. This is taught to most students that go through the school system. Say the Pledge of Allegiance. I always find that amazing, boys and girls. There's people in prison, boys and girls, and they have problems reading. But they went through the public school system. They all know the Pledge of Allegiance. You see how nationalism is really taught, indoctrinated on people. Okay, in other words, that's all part of complying. Okay, following orders. Standardized tests is often biased in favor of affluent students. Yeah, the more money your background is, the chances are you're going to do better on these standardized tests. Okay, it doesn't really measure what you know. It's really class biased. Tracking involves the assignment of students to different kinds of educational programs. And because of in general, the tracking, they say this person is meant for this program, this person is meant for that program. That's what tracking is about. It frequently benefits students from higher class backgrounds disproportionately. Yeah, they moved up to, they're put to the higher tracks, to the better education parts. And you can see it's definitely economic. More negative consequences. In other words, you got a lot of poor kids, a lot of working class kids. They're put in the lower tracks and they learn very little, and they're very bright, but they were just that's how tracking works. Inequality exists between public and private schools. Studies show that private schools commonly teach more effectively than public schools. That's true. You have your super well-off kids, they go to these special boarding schools. They teach way more things than in a public school. There's only 12 in a class. Everybody has their own personal computer. Unbelievable library. You can see very different from a lot of public schools. Okay, also in a lot of other types of private schools, it's set up where the teacher gives more attention to the student and they do better. That's why studies show private schools commonly teach more effectively than public schools. Not all public schools. You got public schools where you have a lot of upper middle class children who go there. They do better. Those public schools are fine. Inequality, and this brings up inequality exists in public schooling. Most suburban schools offer better education than most central city schools. Admittance to higher education is limited by several factors, but finances are key. People who complete college on the average earn higher incomes. So you see suburban schools, they have a better education system, their public schools, than the city schools we're talking about in poor areas. It's not even close. The public school on paper, over 90% of all Americans go to public schools, boys and girls. And on paper, it's supposed to be, it doesn't matter which public school you go to, they're all supposed to be the same, and in reality, they're not. In suburban areas, they're way better than in poor city areas. Okay, way better. You got better teachers, less students per teacher, better buildings, so many other facilities that that are available to the students, computers, way more computers, better library, better books, go on and on. And it's an interesting pattern. Based on the school you go to, that's going to decide which college you go to. So if you go to the right private school, you will be accepted to an Ivy League school. That's how it works. Okay. Now you can be from a public school and be accepted to an Ivy League school, but you got to be the 1% in your class. You got to be not the 1%, excuse me, number one in your class.